I've successfully made a pretty massive mess. Polystyrene loves to make a big mess when you cut it, so I've got some vacuuming to do, but all the polystyrene now is sitting on top of the plywood, so we can start cutting some tanks in here. I've done that with this one. These trolleys are worth their weight in gold if you've got a fish room. Highly recommend getting one of these trolleys. Now, I bought 3 of these 4-foot tanks. It's a standard 4-foot tank, 4 feet by 380 by 460. These are split, so the guy I bought these off was a fish breeder and he had all kinds of plecos and it was all sumped and stuff like that. So they have holes drilled in them. I have 3 identical tanks like this, so that's why I built this rack just like this. This one does need a little bit of repair. Side's fallen off and actually it says fix. And there's a bit of a crack there. So what I'll do is I'll pull out the silicone later. I'm going to have to clean these tanks up because there is a bit of rubbish and stuff, so I'll vacuum that out, give it a good clean up, and then it'll be time to put some vinyl on here. I'm going with black vinyl this time. The blue looks really awesome in videos, but when you're standing in real life looking at a fish, the blue kind of washes their colours out a bit. I've noticed in most fish shops that they have black paint or black vinyl on their tanks. So all 3 of these will get wrapped in black vinyl and then we can get trucking with it. And then we'll have to do some plumbing, of course, which I've decided to do in place now. I had to give myself an idea of what it would look like. These are 6.5 watt LED 2-foot battens, and I reckon they look pretty good. That's just one, and they're linkable. That looks like an almost perfect amount of light. I do like the cool white rather than the warm light. Yeah, I might get away with just one of those per level for now. We'll see. I can always change things up as time goes on. I'm aiming for low power consumption on my new racks. Obviously electricity is expensive everyone, so that's kind of a driver. That's why I also have them turned off during the day. But that looks pretty schmicko to me. I really can't wait to drag the other ones in here and have a look what it looks like with all of them. I couldn't be patient, I had to drag this next one in here. So this one's been looks like it's been rattle-canned with paint, so I'll need to clean that off. This is the kind of plumbing that came with it. So I'll probably try and stick with this. All the seals are pretty degraded because they're rubber. See, it's all kind of cracked up, so that's why I've pulled all of this one out. So I'll probably start with brand new plumbing to begin with. Let's chuck these 2 in place, see what they look like. Oh, I know the tanks are filthy, but this is looking sick. Every time I do something new to this rack, I'm just getting more and more excited about actually getting some fish in there. Holy cow, it looks so good. So this is the 3-foot batten and puts out a fair bit more light. And then you've got to worry about all kinds of things like algae and cleaning tanks all the time. I like it. Let's roll with it. Couldn't help myself. I took my expensive LED light, put it on top. It looks awesome. It'll look really good when they're all the same like size and colour of light. This is so exciting. They're really dirty tanks. They do need a good clean. But that's next. And here comes the vinyl wrapping. So the first thing I need to do is take out these old bulkheads, because all those seals are all perished, and clean up the back of this tank. And we can wrap it. I just use everyday signwriting grade vinyl. Like I said, I'm going to use black on this one as opposed to blue. Blue looks awesome, and I want to see what it looks like with black on this one. It's a good thing I'm replacing the seals. They're pretty rotten. But it was a very interesting way of doing that, because they've just had like a rubber seal with just off the shelf parts rather than using a bulkhead, which is the way I've been doing it, just putting a bulkhead in for a really good seal. I might buy all new bulkheads, I don't know yet. Sometimes it's just hit and miss getting them from Bunnings, don't always have them on the shelf. At first I thought this was like a mirror tint or something made out of vinyl, but there's nothing there, so it looks like they might have just hit it with like chrome spray paint or something. So I'm just going to see if we can get it to budge. There we go. They've just used spray paint and pure alcohol's taking it off. This is the danger of buying used tanks. Sometimes they'll be chipped or cracked or need resealing. This needs a clean up. It looks like the more efficient way is actually going to be to just use the razor blade and scrape all of that off there. It's coming off fairly easily. Here's the section I did with the towel. Then with the isopropyl alcohol. Just elbow grease, we'll get there. It's become pretty quickly obvious that that's not a good way to do it, and that's not a good way to do it. Going to the 4-0 still wall, it's safe to assume there's some type of chrome they've sprayed on there. So much hard work. We'll get there. Trust me when I say you want rubber gloves when you're using this stuff, because all those little pieces go in your fingers and hands. Don't do it barehanded. And it took me about another 2 minutes to finish cleaning up the rest of the tank. The inside's filthy, so don't mind that for now. We'll clean that off. But we're ready to wrap. Holy cow. Don't chrome spray paint your tanks, guys. Oh, blowout. It doesn't look great. I will do a separate video on how I vinyl wrap my tanks. For now you're just going to have to believe me, because I want to get this done and I don't have all day to do it. So I'm just going to get on it. Probably not show you too many of the steps for now and do a better video of vinyl wrapping later. Now, boy howdy, it's not a mirror. It's black vinyl on a piece of glass. Stand it up and do the sides now. Looks horrible because it's dirty inside. I've got to clean that yet. It'll look way better than that yet. If they all only take 20 minutes to get wrapped and cleaned down, I'll be very happy. The rest may not need as much as this one. This one was very spray painted. I think that one is too. Cut some holes, the bulkheads, and then I'm pretty much done. Apart from cleaning it out. The seals aren't bad, even though it's sat outside for probably a couple of months now. A month here and probably a month or two where they were before. Now I'm just going to hit this with some water and a scrubbing brush, clean it up, and they'll be almost ready to get started on the plumbing side of things. Amazing what a difference another 5 minutes of elbow grease. Just cleaning those down. All I used was water. Gave them a scrub. That's one done. 2 to go. Oh yeah, I'm loving how it's looking already. I really like that. I really like the way the black sits on these. Most fish shops do keep theirs with black paint or vinyl. And I think I know why now. We have 3 for 3 tanks wrapped. Fully wrapped as well. I've done the sides, I've done the back. They do need a bit of a clean because these ones are a bit filthy. I started cleaning that one there as you saw, but I think now while they're down at the floor level it's time for me to really start getting in and giving a really good clean up. Here's the box of hardware. I'm only missing one piece for all these tanks actually. It looks like apart from these O-rings, most of this can be reused and it will actually save me a bit of time in the plumbing and money too. So we're going to hold on to this and try and find maybe some more O-rings or maybe just silicone them in, not sure yet. That's going to reveal itself as time goes on. Cleaning and wrapping the tanks is actually the bit that I've been dreading the most, and it's turning out pretty well. I have some minor repairs to do to this tank. After I've finished cleaning these tanks, then I'm going to finish doing a repair to this tank. And then literally it's plumbing time and time to probably go to my local fish store and start getting what I need. Been getting a few questions. What is the tennis ball on the piece of threaded rod? This is a garage, so this is how I know when to stop the car. When we come into the garage, touches the car, and then the car has a good like 8 to 10 inch gap or 200mm gap so that we don't ram these through the wall, because this tank here is 2 feet deep, exactly the same as a stand, and if you even touch that with the car, it'll immediately crack it. And we don't want to do that. The next steps from here, sort the plumbing, get some batten filter to put in either side, put a strip of black vinyl down the middle. I should have just enough of that left to finish those off. I've got to do something with lights, drop in some outlets for the air, for the batten filters. And over on the side here, we have this nice little space that I'm going to put brine shrimp hatcheries. What do you reckon? Is that a good idea or not? Seems like the best space to put it. So while plumbing was on my mind, I grabbed this and I ran down to Bunnings thinking, yeah, I'll buy all the plumbing stuff today. Ah! I was wrong. I ended up buying these and some plants. So I really like these style of bar lights, and they're linkable. Now these ones here are the Arlec, and they're fairly low wattage. From my previous test, they're plenty bright enough for these tanks. So I thought, no worries, I'll go and see, these ones here are $58 each for the 3-footers. So they're 4 foot, 13 watt, 1300 lumen, which is exactly the same as the $58 ones. A good 120 degree wide angle. But that alone isn't why I bought them. These ones are $58 each, right? 3-footers, $58 from Bunnings. These are on clearance at the moment for $20 each. 20 bucks each. I just got all my lighting for this rack, low wattage, for 60 bucks. Bargain. Thank you, Bunnings. I got sick of everyone else's racks looking awesome. Because I do a lot of breeding, I keep my racks a bit barer and tanks a bit barer, so now I'll at least have something growing out of them. Philodendrons and pothos. There I was thinking I was paying attention, and I managed to bring home 2 of the 4000K, which is a warm light. I really like the daylight ones better. Maybe different than your preference, but I don't really like the warm lights. So I'm gonna have to take these back to Bunnings and swap them over for the correct ones. Alright, been to Bunnings and back. The right lights now. They're all cool white. 13 watts, 13 watts, 13 watts. My maths was off. It's 39 watts. So 40 watts, 7 hours a day, whatever that works out to. It's really low power consumption for this rack. These will be mounted up underneath so that you can't see them. May have to drill a hole or something, but we'll work that out later on down the track. I think it looks awesome. Now we just have some plumbing to do, make some batten filters. We can start cycling these tanks. Oh yeah! Wow, fish room's starting to grow. Fish rack, fish rack, fish rack, fish rack.